This is kind of the whole point. Is you're literally defending Maduro in Venezuela right now.
Maduro. I am telling you, the guy you say is unifying is a pathological liar. That's made up. He's making that number up and conflating.
We don't know.
That is no.
We don't know. There's maybe 20 people who claim
we do know because ICE has put out numbers. We actually do know that that's not true. It is a lie.
The statement or the sentiment, and you chose not to stand.
Well, I'm sure if Joe Biden told Republicans to rise, they would have leapt from their seat.
But to that point, doesn't that happen?
So in this clip, we are going to see Abby Phillip's Newsnight panel completely just dismantle these two Donald Trump followers, cultists, whatever you guys want to call them. We're going to see the CNN panel just completely pick apart their perspectives and the narrative that they try and promote when it comes to Donald Trump's State of the Union speech. As usual, let's watch the clip in full. I may pop my opinion in briefly in the middle, but I'm going to save it, majority of it, for the end. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it.
Good evening. I'm Abby Phillip in New York. Let's get right to what America's talking about. That ugly State of the Union clash, well, it just got a little uglier because now President Trump is escalating his fight with Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. Both had begun shouting when Trump challenged Democrats to stand for Americans while he was speaking about illegal immigration and fraud in Minnesota. Now, in a post today, Trump said that Omar and Tlaib screamed uncontrollably and had the bulging, bloodshot eyes of crazy people. He likened them to lunatics and suggested that they be institutionalized. Then he added, quote, "We should send them back to where they came from as fast as possible." Vice President J.D. Vance also got in the war of words.
They were all looking around for cues from their colleagues because they didn't have the courage to stand on their own. And that, more than anything, Bill, is the saddest commentary on the Democratic Party, that not only will they not stand for the idea that Americans should come first, they won't even have the courage of their convictions. They lean on the person to their left and their right rather than actually have some conviction.
But Omar says that she has no regrets.
And I think many people look at that moment when the president says it is our responsibility to protect Americans, and he does not acknowledge the fact that two Americans, two of my constituents, two of our neighbors were killed. And it was important for me to just remind the American people that the president and his administration was responsible for killing two American citizens.
Congressman Moskowitz, you were in the room last night, right? Was that moment what Donald Trump ultimately wanted and what perhaps your Democratic leadership wanted to avoid?
Oh, yeah, no. The president clearly came in with a strategy to do that, right? His strategy was to try to rage bait people into that fight. He wanted that, and he got it. You know, look, ultimately, he's not deporting two members of Congress, just like he didn't lock up Hillary, even though that was chanted in arenas, you know, around the country. So, you know, look, he can't fix his poll numbers. He can't turn around the fact that he's underwater on the economy, underwater on immigration, the two issues that helped get him elected. So what he's going to try to do is he's going to try to fight to the point where he tries to make us not an option, right? He wants to just bring us down with him, to the hope that that might help him somehow survive the midterms. This is the new strategy. He met with his pollsters. They saw where everything is. They can't turn around their stuff. They've ruined it in the first year. So the strategy is to try to bring everybody down in order to survive the midterms.
So Rashida Tlaib responded to Trump. She said, "Can't take two Muslims talking back and correcting him, so now he's crashing out." And then she used the hashtag President Majnoon, which means crazy or insane in Persian.
Yeah, I mean, she also got what she wanted, which was a mistake, I think, for the Democrats to play into that. I actually agree with the congressman. I think the president was setting up Democrats in a really simple and easy way. They shouldn't have fallen for it. It seems pretty easy to stand up and say, actually, no, I support American people first. That is where I stand. And we can have a nuanced conversation afterwards if you want about illegal immigration. But they walked into that trap because it was so easy to set.
Well, but that's not true. I mean, I stand for...
Most Democrats did not stand.
I stand for Americans over non-citizens, and so do all of my colleagues. But just because It's not the Galactic Senate. Just because the emperor says rise doesn't mean I get up. Like I'm a
You
different.
rose sometimes,
I'm a different branch of government. I rose for the heroes that were in the gallery, not because the president.
But not for
told me
the
to
other
rise.
point. I mean, you rose because, and thank you for rising. I think in those cases that this is an easy moment to be united, whether it's around Team USA or it's around any of the people who were featured there. But that's sending a message that you agree with the statement or the sentiment, and you chose not to stand.
Well,
I think
I'm sure if Joe
on the other
Biden told
points.
Republicans to rise, they would have leapt from their seats.
But to that point,
Okay.
doesn't that happen at every single State of the Union address? The president says something innocuous. The party that is the opposite party doesn't stand. That happens every single year.
Yeah, but I don't feel like
understand
this.
why
I
we're
don't feel like these
pretending like this is
shouting
some kind of
matches
new thing.
used to happen. I mean, they started happening maybe that in my memory with Joe Wilson under Obama. You know, I don't like Donald Trump. I don't support Donald Trump, but I am an institutionalist, and I think that there is a pomp and circumstance and gravitas to something like the State of the Union. Does he use it to lie? Yes. Does he use it to divide? Does he use it to attack immigrants? Yes. But that doesn't mean that that two Congresspeople should be in this shouting match. And look, what he tweeted out today is horribly racist. And I say this as somebody that gets told the same thing over and over again. Go back to where you came from. I can't tell you how many times I open up social media and it says, go eat a burrito and go back to Mexico, because racists are so stupid, they don't realize there's more than one country in Latin America, and I'm not from Mexico. Also, I don't eat burritos. I like tacos. But the fact that what he said is racist and it is horrible, and it's, you know, and it emboldens and it strengthens, empowers racism. My question is, how does it help American citizens to have the President of the United States and two Congresspeople in a pissing match over stupidity? How does it help them have lower grocery prices? How does it help him have access to health care, access to housing? And actually, I think it's, you know, you talk about Donald Trump goading them into this. I think this is really stupid by Donald Trump. I mean, most people use the State of the Union as a launching pad to then go out and sell their agenda and try to have it be a good moment for them. And instead, he's out there in the, you know, in the bottom of the gutter, fighting and being a racist pig. Why?
Can I just ask this question? Is it asking too much to expect the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, to set the tone in the room for the State of the Union?
Yes, it's asking too much.
Okay, but look,
It's asking too much.
it had to be awful tough. I talked to a lot of members of Congress about attending versus not attending. Both of the Congresswomen who the President, the Commander-in-Chief, have been after for a while now.
Yeah, that's true.
Were in the room, in their seats, on behalf of the people that they represent. You know, I served as a law enforcement officer for a lot of years, and to even ask or make a statement that you need to protect this group first over another group. When I was on the street, if somebody needed help, I didn't check their citizenship before I helped them. So the president started off trying to divide, which he does so well, the nation, right? And you want to talk about protecting Americans? That's exactly what Ilhan Omar was doing, talking about 2 U.S. citizens who were killed under very questionable circumstances in her district.
Is it fair for her to raise that? I mean, Trump is asking about protecting Americans. Is it fair for her to raise the 2 Americans who were killed?
Well, I think Trump's entire speech was actually pretty unifying. I think Donald Trump's superpower is positioning himself as the common sense guy who's advocating for positions that the vast majority of Americans want. And there was one moment at the beginning where he invited the USA hockey team, and of course the crowd went wild chanting USA, USA, and then the camera panned to Rashida Tlaib, who appeared to be mouthing KKK. And then again, you had another moment where Trump says, stand up if you want to support American citizens over illegal aliens. And instead, Ilhan Omar is screaming and heckling the president. And those are the best kind of sound bites and visuals that the GOP can have for the midterms, because a lot of people might not like Donald Trump and might be kind of hemming and hawing. And then they look at the alternative and they say, oh, well, this really angry woman, gosh, I don't know about her. So that's what Trump set out to do.
That was my question.
Highlight the 80-20 issues.
In response to his own question, is it fair for the Democrats to respond, why, yes, we do care about American citizens, including 2 that were killed.
Yes, it is
by
fair, but not in
federal
that venue.
officers?
But
It
was
is fair, but
surprising
not at
to
that
me
moment.
that the President of the United States did not even mention the 2 U.S. citizens that were killed in Minnesota. How do you do the State of the Union, because you care about Americans so much, and not even mention the 2 people who lost their lives on the streets of America at the hand of federal agents?
One who tried to run over.
But how
an
do
ICE
you
agent
not
in
even,
the
you
moment.
can do your commentary all you want, or, critique, but how do
State
you
facts.
not mention that 2 people died in that environment? And the president was one of the most unifying speeches, the president who said, look at the Democrats, aren't they crazy? He obviously does not understand that when he won election, he is supposed to represent all people.
When you go through some of the moments he went to, right, he pointed to a little girl, Delilah, who was almost killed by an illegal alien, miraculously came back. She was there with her dad. When you have Democrats who won't stand and applaud her recovery, yeah, I think that's
Sadly,
crazy.
people are killed in America every day. Sadly. And the majority of them are killed by U.S. citizens. So whether an
I don't understand that point.
undocumented
That
immigrant,
point
I'm saying
whether
the
it's
thing he was calling out about
undocumented immigrant or a
curtailing
U.S. citizen
fentanyl,
who's
about
the
supporting
perpetrator,
No, here's
the
the
bottom
difference.
line is somebody has died or someone has been
One died as a
seriously
result
injured.
of bad policy that was in place for 4 years, allowing people to come into this country unvetted illegally. And if we had border policies that actually worked, those people wouldn't be here and those deaths would not have occurred. That's the difference. So when you can point directly to policy, I think that's obviously well within the scope of any president, Democrat or Republican.
Yeah, by the way, it went so well in Minnesota that the president sidelined his secretary, skipped her in the cabinet meeting, replaced her with Tom Homan, who then pulled everybody out. So yeah, worked real well that they abandoned it and left. That's number one. Number two is, look, Donald Trump there's a lot of verbs and adjectives to describe. Unifying is not one of them. He doesn't even think he's unifying. That's not his strategy.
Two-thirds of the people who watched the speech thought it was very positive, and they liked it.
Actually, it was the lowest positivity in 20 years of any.
I think that's right.
Listen,
That's
and
right.
he patently bold-faced lied about illegal immigrants and criminality. He said that the man who had killed the Ukrainian woman in Charlotte, North Carolina, Irina, was an undocumented immigrant who had been let in by Biden. That was a lie.
That's
He's a
not
U.S.
true.
citizen. He was born in North Carolina.
You're right. He misspoke, but it was another
12,000
policy failure that led to him killing
That was
her.
purposeful, him using illegal immigrants as the boogeyman. He said 12,000 murderers had been allowed in by Joe Biden. That's made up. He's making that number up and conflating
We don't
numbers.
know.
That is no.
We don't know. There's maybe 20
know.
people who
We
claim
do
across
know
the
because
southern
ICE
border.
has put out numbers.
No,
we
we
actually
do
do know that that's not
We
true.
do
It is a
know.
lie. Listen, he lied over 20 times. Daniel Dale from CNN has done the fact checking, and a lot of those lies were about immigration. He said Maduro opened up the prisons and the insane asylums. There is no evidence, zero, that Maduro did that. Castro did it in 1980. But there is zero evidence that Maduro did it in the last few years.
This is kind of the whole point. Is you're literally defending Maduro and
I am not
Venezuela right
defending
now.
Maduro. I am telling you the guy you say is unifying is a pathological liar.
I don't think it's defending Maduro to just point out that what Trump said about Maduro is not true, okay? That's not a defense of Maduro, it's just a defense of
Bobby, he's
facts.
so unifying. I feel unified. Don't you feel unified? I mean, I feel so unified that the president, he's just unifying everything. It is painting us.
We are
with
being brought together every moment of every day.
we're just dripping.
All right, next for us.
I mean, there's a few different things that I want to kind of touch on in regards to this one. This was quite an interesting back and forth. One of the things that you consistently saw in this was every single narrative that they tried to push the MAGA supporters, Lydia Moynihan, and I believe Jason Rantz, his name is, every single one of them, they got batted down because it was either connected to a lie or some form of mistruth. First and foremost, Jason Rantz context matters, and it's very, very simple. And I believe it's actually common sense why they didn't stand. And I don't think it was a good trap from Donald Trump. I think any American who is actually watching the State of the Union will be able to look at that if they have common sense, and they'll be able to see, well, we know the reason why they didn't stand, because Donald Trump was trying to set a trap, but it was a poor trap. Because the main thing he should be focusing on is the economy, is affordability, and because he's absolutely like cratering on both of them, he's trying to do performative things. The exact same way that when it's on the other hand, the exact same thing happens. Like, these guys trying to act like this is some form of gotcha is ridiculous, because there's no gotcha here. There's none whatsoever. This is something that everybody knows with this, even the smallest bit of common sense. Donald Trump was just doing that to try and perform to the cameras. Now, I want to touch on what Ana Navarro said when she said, not here, now isn't the time. I like Ana Navarro. I like her perspective and her opinion the majority of the time. But right here, I fundamentally disagree with her. And the reason as to why I disagree with her is simply because of this. Number one, I'm sick and tired of Democrats doing the when they go low, we go high BS. I'm sick of it. It needs to end, because the reality is this: it doesn't get anybody anywhere. It doesn't. It just enables Donald Trump to continue to beat upon the Dems while they continue to try and take the high road, and then no one within Donald Trump's party actually will stand up to him and say, you know what, we as a party need to take the high road. I'm sick of that. They need to start fighting fire with fire. If Donald Trump wants to get down and dirty, do the exact same thing. Like Gavin Newsom says, put a mirror up to Donald Trump and MAGA's face and make them feel it themselves. So I just completely disagree with Ana Navarro's narrative of not here. No, do it when the cameras are on. Do it at the biggest opportunities possible. Because the world, yes, the world, but more importantly, the American people need to see that the person that they believe is the commander-in-chief is a liar and is more divisive than anyone. Would you believe that people on the right would have you believe that Barack Obama was more divisive than Donald Trump? Would you believe it? It's absolutely embarrassing. Jason Rantz speaking when he said, about Renee Good, it's a fact that it is that she tried to kill the police officer. This is what MAGA do. Absolute BS. The majority of the world saw what was happening. The majority of the American people saw what was happening. That's the reason why, once again, in numerous polls when it comes to the murder and the death of Renee Good, Donald Trump literally is underwater simply because of that, because we have eyes. So to try and say, oh, it was a fact. It wasn't a fact. That's your opinion. But for the majority of people that have common sense, we saw she wasn't trying to kill the officer at all. She was trying to get away, and he killed her as a result of that. Lydia Moynihan, once again, trying to state statistics. Oh, this was the most unifying. BS. But this is what they do. They lie about things because they're not used to being checked for their lies. They're not. But when she did get checked for her lies, she didn't come back or say anything, did she? She didn't say anything about it at all. Instead, what she tries to turn around and say is, oh, well, he misspoke. Honestly, you can't take these people serious. This is MAGA. This is who they are. This is how they act, and this is how they conduct themselves. They are the most embarrassing bunch, the most embarrassing cult in history. And I cannot wait until the midterms for the Dems, if they get their act together, to wipe the floor with them. Let me know what you guys think about this clip and this exchange down in the comment section below. While you guys are down there, do me a massive favor, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification if you're interested in a Brit's perspective on American politics. Hit the thumbs up button. And if you've made it this far, if you're willing to, do me a favor, hype this video, hit the hype button in the comment section, in the below section, just to get this video in front of as many people as possible. All right, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next clip.